Hey guys, in this video, we're going to work on this program making program challenge that's a part of the C Sharp 11 expansion. If you don't have that yet, now's a good time to go get it. It's on Gumroad. The website talks about it. Um, if you go to the blog and look for the C Sharp 11 expansion, I'll try and find a better place to put this in. But you come in here. Here's the link. It is free. You don't need to pay a penny for it. You can if you want to, but you definitely do not need to. So if you're looking for just some content on C Sharp 11 and some challenges to do to help you get some practice with it, this is a good place to go. So this program making program challenge, let's just dive into this. The idea is we've already done this triangle farmer challenge, and it's like this is more or less what that, I mean, at a kind of a minimalistic standpoint, this is all it needs to be is, enter in the width and then enter in the height. And then I'm going to do this little bit of math right here. What we want to do here is make a program that will generate the, display as output that program while using but while giving people the flexibility to choose whether they want to use units, like do you want to use meters or feet or light years, and to choose the type. Do you want to use int or float or decimal or whatever it is? Really, the purpose of this is to use these multi-line like raw string literals. That's the main thing we're really trying to accomplish here. Just get some experience with that. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to start by just grabbing this little code here. It isn't quite right, and this note down here says that. But you're going to have to tweak it. That's fine though. So I am going to copy this to start. And then I'm going to jump over here, and what I'm going to do to start is stick this in let's try that again. There we go. Stick it in a multi-line raw string literal. These string literals are super cool. Like I can do this here, and now I've got all my this program, and it'll like it's indented in a way that, like, my code still looks pretty clean. But it's all one big string. So I actually think this is a really cool feature of C Sharp 11. Yeah, so now the main thing we need to do here is make it so that we can, like, these things here all need to be like configurable. Like we need to be able to like embed stuff in here. And we're going to do that with string interpolation. So I'm going to put in this for string interpolation. And so now I can come right here and I can do, for example, that. I'm going to, well, let me take one small step back here. This program that we're making is a really like meta program. Like we're making a program that generates like C# code. And that's a little weird because like all of this stuff in the quotes in this string, like theoretically should be like syntactically correct C# code. And that makes this really interesting because it is like I've got code that's in a string and that string is in code. So it's a little weird, but it's kind of a cool experience to go through as well. So it kind of takes a little bit to wrap your mind around just because of how meta it is. So, okay, I've got my units in here, and what you can see here is my result. Like this is supposed to be a part of the program. Like the program is supposed to, I'm using string interpolation that's meant to survive into the generated program. Right now it's expecting that I'm just going to use the result right here. And so what I need to do is this isn't supposed to be string interpolation. This is supposed to show up in the output exactly as it is. So what I'm going to do is add a second $sign and then change all these to 2 curly braces. So that part's a little bit tricky. Hopefully not too tricky. I'll admit I was and still am kind of worried about, is this challenge too mind bending? Like, I don't know, like I mean, we're actually pretty close to being done with this. Like, we only need a few more lines. Like, it's not too long of a program, but it's just this like mind bending aspect because it is meta. Like, we've got C# code that lives in a string in our C# code, and that can kind of mess with your mind a little bit. But so now that I've got the $2 signs here, I can use 2 curly braces for these units, and I can do the same thing for the type in a moment. And this will be interpolated. So when it's meters, like the final string is going to say enter the width in meters, enter the height in meters, whatever square units. But this part of it is going to stay exactly like you see it here. It's raw. So exactly as you see it is how it's going to end up in the output, which is what we need because we want that to be interpolated not in this program, but in the program that we generate. And the other thing we need is the type. So we'll do that here. All right. So at this point, we can run this. And it'll just display this. So now this has generated the program for us. You can see that. And it took our double and our meters and just embedded it in here. And now in theory, I could take this and put it into another program. And run that. Again, the meta level of it. So now it's generated a program that I could actually run. 4 meters by 3 meters. That should be, what, 6? 6 square meters. So by the way, this program does not need to like generate the string and then run the string. The intent is for it to like display it like this. And then manually copy and paste this into another program to confirm that it works. C# does have that ability to just take a string and compile it and run it. Like, it can do that. That is a bit of a dangerous game to play. Like, you don't want to just run arbitrary code. Like, in theory, somebody could come in here and like for their units, they could type something that deletes everything on the hard drive or installs a virus, downloads a virus. Like, there's a lot of things you could do. So you actually don't like, it's a dangerous game to play to like take text and just run it. However, as a code generator where you create this thing and then now you have this stuff, and anyway, it can be super useful. But anyway, there you have it, other than this is supposed to come from user input. So let's do this string or console.write line. Enter the units you want to use. Let's actually make this a console.write. And then here we'll do console.read line. And then we'll do console.write. Enter the C# type you want to use. Run that guy. And now it'll ask us, and now we can say, well, we want to use picometers or maybe angstroms. And the type we want to use, what's a good one? Decimal. So now this generates a program. Enter the width in angstroms. Enter the height in angstroms. And it uses the decimal type. And now I can just copy this. We can see if this works into here and run this. Enter the width. 21.2 angstroms. Enter the height. 4.8 has a size of 50.88 square angstroms. That's all we need to do for this. And at this point, we're done. I think people have a little bit of a hesitancy to say, like, well, what do I need to like validate this? I need to make sure this is a good units. The units won't matter too much. The only place they're used is in the user, like the output to the user. However, the type does matter. So should you check and say, make sure that this is one of the C# types, int, short, uint, ulong, double, decimal, like whatever it is, should you ensure that it uses a type that's actually going to work here? I think I would say for what you're doing here, you could, but it's not worth it. The main thing here is this part. It's the multi-line raw string literal, and using this in a program. The rest of the stuff, if somebody mistypes it, like if they accidentally instead of typing float, they typed flot, leave out the A or something. Yeah, it's not going to work, but like that degree of user input isn't going to matter here. The only person who's using this program is you. So like the stakes are super low. If this were a high stakes thing, if the user entered bad inputs and the world exploded, yeah, you better make sure the input's good. You don't need to do that here. Don't feel like you need to. You could, but it's just not worth it. So somewhat tricky of a challenge, mostly because of how meta it is. This is obviously not the only place that you could use these multi-line raw string literals. Sometimes you just have a poem or a novel you gotta like output, and just having a multi-line thing is way better than like doing like having without this. You'd have to do something like string program equals console.write line, or whatever all this stuff is, plus, and then come down here and do, the next line, int width equals, whatever it is. And all this kind of stuff here is, that's what we did in C. We've done in C# for 22, 23 years. So it certainly works, but this new version is just that much simpler to do. So super cool feature. I love it. Hopefully the meta-ness of this challenge isn't too much, or at least once you kind of start to see through it, then it's easy to see how you might use one of these. But anyway, that's everything. Let's be done for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.